Hey, U.S. history students, today we're going to focus on the new values that are emerging in the 1920s. So we talked about some of the things they were trying to hold on to, trying to preserve traditional values, and then on the other hand now, here are the new values that are emerging, the things that are changing in the 1920s. The first major change we're going to talk about is women in the 1920s. So women, starting out the decade of the 1920s, they gained the right to vote with the 19th Amendment. And so women have this newfound power to vote. At home, there's all these new technologies, new appliances that are saving women time. And so those women that are staying at home, now they have the vacuum cleaner and the washing machine. And so they don't have to spend as much time on their housework, and they have more time for leisure activities. They're able to get out more. More women are going to college. They're having jobs. So more women are having money. And so therefore they're independent and they want to assert their rights. And so the 1920s is a decade of kind of turning conservative traditional values on their head, and women are kind of rejecting that traditional conservative women's role. And you see the flappers emerge, which flappers are women who are rejecting this stereotype, this mold. They are kind of breaking out. They are wearing short dresses. They're wearing their hair long, or they're wearing their hair short, I'm sorry. They wear lots of makeup. They go out to hang out without chaperones and without people watching them. And so they kind of are asserting their independence and breaking out of that conservative traditional mold, the flappers. In the 1920s, you also see an emergence of new music. And so you see a rise in the demand for sheet music, for people to play their own music. You see new styles of music emerging. And so a place called Tin Pan Alley emerges in the 1920s as a section of New York where songwriting and musical ideas mixed and formed American popular music. So you see the rise in blues and jazz and ragtime and their blends coming out of this area of New York called Tin Pan Alley. The 1920s also bring a great change for African Americans as well. This is a time known as the Great Migration. The Great Migration is where you have this huge migration of about 2 million African Americans that are moving from the South to the Northeast and the Midwest from about 1910 to 1930, about 2 decades of time period is when this Great Migration is occurring. And they're searching for jobs in the North. So they're trying to escape their tenant farming. They're trying to escape racism in the South. And they're looking for jobs in factories and in the industrial sectors of the North and the Northeast. The North has higher paying jobs. And so you see a lot of these huge cities there of the North, their African American populations are growing big time. So Chicago doubled, Cleveland tripled, Detroit grew by 6 times. What African Americans found when they got to the North is that they still faced racism, and they were still confined a lot of times to all black neighborhoods. And so they created kind of cities within cities. The biggest one of these is going to be Harlem in New York City. And this is going to lead to kind of a resurgence of African American culture during the 20s because of these large cities within cities happening all throughout the North and the Northeast. Here's a map of the Great Migration. You can see all the southern states down here in green, and then all the destination cities where African Americans are moving to in red, and you can see their trails as they head up. And then even out west, African Americans moving out west. So this is the Great Migration between the years 1916 and 1930. Due to the Great Migration and due to the resurgence of the African American middle class as they move north and find jobs in big cities and factories, you see what's called the Harlem Renaissance emerge. So this is just a rise in the African American middle class. They have more time to pursue music, art, dance, visual arts. You see famous African American poets emerge like Langston Hughes, and authors like Zora Neale Hurston arise. You see African American women authors, and it's just this resurgence of African American culture called the Harlem Renaissance. The 1920s is also a time for American heroes and celebrities to rise. So people in the 1920s have more time for entertainment. They have more time to pursue things they want to do because of all these new innovations and inventions that are time-saving. And people are having jobs where they only work an 8-hour day, and then they have time for entertainment in the evening. And so sports, radio, movies, magazines all increased very rapidly in the 1920s. You have heroes emerge like Babe Ruth, Jack Dempsey, who was a professional boxer. You have Charles Lindbergh, who becomes an American celebrity, American hero, because he's the first person to fly across the Atlantic Ocean. This was 1927. He made it all alone in a single-engine plane. And so this took him from being a national, made him into a national hero and a celebrity in the United States. The 1920s also gave rise to another important figure. His name was Marcus Garvey. He was a political activist, and he was highly controversial. He was born in Jamaica, and he's known to wear outfits like you see over here, these very fancy uniforms. He was known for his fiery rhetoric. He would give speeches, and he would emphasize racial pride. He formed the Universal Negro Improvement Association, and his goal was not just in the United States, but to liberate African people around the world. And so he stressed racial unity, so African Americans sticking together, helping each other, helping themselves, and he wanted African Americans to set up their own businesses to gain economic independence. And eventually he came up with this idea called the Back to Africa movement, which said that African Americans should return to Africa, more specifically Liberia, which is in Africa, and set up their own kind of country where they could kind of start the rules from the beginning and make things fair and equal for all African Americans.